my friends, we're back again for another tarot lesson. So this tarot lesson is going to act as a companion piece to my previous tarot lesson, where we were looking at card combinations regarding whether you are the problem in a situation. So I figured as this is a companion piece, we would look at cards for when you are not the problem in a given situation. Let's get right into it. I wanted to cover the most broad card pull that you could get, so we're going to start with court cards. When you pull a court card in relation to a problem that you might be having, it is almost guaranteed that it's going to be about another person in that situation. And that person is generally the person causing the issue, with the exception of a signifier card, which I will make a whole nother video about because that deserves a video on its own. For example, getting the Five of Wands with the Knight of Cups can suggest a heated conflict with somebody that's being represented by the Knight of Cups. Or getting something like the Ten of Swords with the King of Wands, for instance, can represent feeling betrayed or even gossiped about by somebody being represented by the King of Wands. This does, however, mean that there is a possible 16 cards that you could get in this category. But luckily there are a couple of ways that you can suss out who it is that's being described, especially if it's unclear who the person in the situation that's causing the problem might be. Pages tend to be younger than yourself, or at least appear younger than yourself, and they tend to be very immature. They are usually the type to follow instructions or to copy others. Knights will be a little bit older, generally in your own peer group, and are a little bit more mature but are still working things out. They will also be more physically active than a lot of the other cards that you might see, so they take their action more obviously. Queens will generally appear older or older than yourself, and are very socially active but not particularly physically active. They're less likely to take physical action. Kings are almost always older than you and appear incredibly mature, so they take action in a very logical, rational, and physical way, but tend to suffer on the emotional side. Socially, they might be revered but repressed. You can also narrow this down further by the suit that card is in. So Wands are very passionate but easily angered people. They also tend to be very loud about their opinions and their feelings. Swords are cool-headed and very rational, but tend to be very loud about their opinions and facts. They love to debate and play with ideas, but they tend to struggle with bringing those ideas into the real world. They don't engage with real problems very well. Cups are very emotionally in tune and generally have an understanding of the social energy around them. They'll talk about emotions and feelings as opposed to the facts and observable features of a situation. They also tend to be quieter and more easily swayed by emotional pleas, less likely to give into reason. Pentacles are very, very grounded individuals, but they can find it difficult to look at things conceptually. They speak in real world terms and are very practical, but when they try to take an idea into the conceptual, it tends not to stick. They are also incredibly no nonsense, so when their mind is made up, that is it. That being said, as always, it is important to take the entire context of the spread into account before you make these judgments. These are just general ideas around these cards and don't take into account things like signifier cards for you personally in your readings. Tarot reading is very personal and very nuanced, so making sure to take all of these things into account is a necessity. Okay, let's move on to reverse judgment. This is the first card we started with in the previous lesson. This is one of those occasions where the card doesn't necessarily change meaning when reversed, but simply changes the roles of everybody within that situation. So when the card is upright, you may be judging other people harsher than you need to, and when the card is reversed, other people might be judging you too harshly. You can get an indication of who is judging you too harshly by any court card that judgment is combined with. This is especially helpful when you're being judged by multiple people at once. When combined with something like the Three of Cups or the Four of Wands, it can give you an idea of whether that judgment is coming from one of your social circles. The Three of Cups being a friend group and the Four of Wands being more familial. A card like the Seven of Swords or the reversed Six of Wands can give an indication of whether this judgment is coming from a good place or a not so good place. The Seven of Swords is generally an indication that whatever judgment you're receiving is coming from a place of projection. That person is making you feel bad because they feel bad about themselves. The reverse Six of Wands can suggest that the judgment is coming from a mob mentality. Everyone gets on the bandwagon of judgment because one person decided to. None of these things are your problem. And as long as you know you did the best that you could in this situation, there is no need to try and place judgment on yourself. Don't feel bad about it. Okay, moving on to the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles represents temporary hardship and generally things outside of your control. You lose your job from redundancy. You get really ill and you can no longer do your job or take care of your family. This one includes disability flare-ups, by the way. I see it a lot in a lot of people's readings. A lot of the time this is particularly financially related, where you are set back by a payment or a charge that you weren't prepared for. None of that is your fault, and this card tries to remind you of this. The situation is temporary and all you have to do is survive through it. The Four of Swords will show things like illness, exhaustion, a need for rest. The Tower indicates routine breaking upheaval, things that stop you in your tracks and that make you unable to progress the way that you were originally. Some of the cards mentioned here will also give you an understanding of where you can go for help. Court cards tend to represent the exact person that you can go to, or cards like the Ten of Cups representing going to family members, or the Six of Pentacles representing a particular organization or charity. This card does also specifically suggest feeling left out in the cold by the people that are supposed to help you. But remember that that is not your fault either, and that there are other people around that will help you, as much as we might be loath to ask for help. Okay. I think the Devil is going to be a bit of a controversial choice, but I'm putting it in here anyway because I do think that it is relevant. The Devil represents temptation and toxic relationships with things, relationships with people, relationships with habits, relationships with ideas, and the like. I am personally of the mind that many toxic connections are deep-rooted in another problem, usually something we're not even aware of, and therefore cannot work through. Situations represented by the Devil in this case are also generally temptations that are acting upon us just as much as we are acting upon them. Addiction is a two-way street, and that needs to be acknowledged. So when we find the Devil combined with a relationship card, like the Two of Cups or the Lovers, or even a specific court card, we know that the temptation and the toxicity lies with the other person, or at least the relationship dynamic, and that needs to be addressed before anything else can be. It is likely in a situation like this that they are exerting power over you, power that you are unable to combat on your own, and that this connection just needs to be reflected upon before you can move forward. When combined with something like the Seven of Cups or the Six of Pentacles, it can suggest people-pleasing behaviors and boundary issues in general. You might also get a court card here, which will indicate exactly who that's with. Beware of kings and queens in this combination, because the likelihood is that this is a parental figure holding you in the child role when you are no longer a child. This isn't your fault because you can't fix what you don't know about. You can't fix what you haven't seen yet. So once you see it, fix it. Okay, the Seven of Swords is an entertaining one because it is literally just a guy stealing swords from an encampment. No bag or anything, just fully stealing shit with his hands. Straight thievery. Like, it's objectively hilarious. The Seven of Swords generally represents somebody that is doing something that they're not supposed to in a given situation. Lying, stealing, and cheating, all staples for this card. But also manipulation and deceit overall. It's likely that you might have the idea that something is wrong already, and in these cases this card is generally just confirmation that it's not all in your head, but sometimes this can come as a little bit of a surprise. Usually the vibe is off, and generally speaking you might not be sure why. You can just kind of assume that you don't like that person, or that you are seeing something that other people are not. Usually the reason is that they're a massive asshole. Combine that with a court card, that person is sketchy. Combine it with the Six of Wands, that group is sketchy. The Three of Pentacles, that is a work environment that you need to get out of very, very soon, or they are going to fire you without pay. This has happened one too many times for it to be a coincidence. Combined with the Seven of Cups or the Six of Pentacles, that person is offering you a scam. The Six of Pentacles came up in a reading once for one of my clients where an old friend was connecting with them after a very long time of not speaking. It turns out that that friend happened to be part of an MLM, or a multi-level marketing scheme. Sensi, I think, the one with the little wax burner things. And that friend was just trying to sell my client their products. The possibilities in this case are well and truly endless, as very depressing as that might be. But importantly, not your fault. And anyone that thinks otherwise has been deceived. And that is all I have for you today. I hope this could help you along your tarot reading journey. I've actually really enjoyed making these two videos, so I might do these two-parters a little bit more often. If you're interested in more videos like this, I have a Patreon. I do weekly readings and tarot lessons, and we have a book club. You can join for as little as £1.11 or $2 for my American friends. And if you join a higher tier, you can receive one-on-one readings with me once a month. Please consider coming and joining us, because we're a friendly bunch. If you are interested in a reading from me or buying any of the resources that I've made, so the How to Tarot guide, journaling entries, etc., then consider going to my coffee shop. It's linked in the description, and you can buy everything that I sell from there. Click all the buttons, follow all of the links, ask your questions in the comments, and as always, stay blessed, my friend.